Am I the a-hole for telling my mom's husband he needs therapy when he tried to guilt me into letting him walk me down the aisle? My mom married her husband James 3 years ago. I, 25 female, was not living with my mom at the time, nor will live in the same state, so I haven't really interacted with him a lot. I got engaged during lockdown last year. We are planning to get married when everything is safe again. I asked my mom if she would walk with me. She said yes. Everything was good. Then James approached me about 2 months ago saying he would like to walk me down the aisle. That he knows he can't replace my dad, but he loves me and my mom, and would love to feel the father of the bride role so I can have someone in it. I told him my mom was filling the parent of the bride role, and that made me happy. He pushed a little, told me it made more sense for him to do it. I said no. My mom told me he had just wanted to make the suggestion because he felt maybe I would prefer it. I didn't want to fight, so I left it alone. Then he came to me again. He talked about how he lost both his girls. His wife and daughters died almost 20 years ago, and how much it would mean for him to be accepted into that role and would give him the chance to do that with another daughter. He told me even if I don't want it, would I do that for him, so he would have some healing and a chance to be in the role with someone. I said no again, and he told me I must be very cold to know what it's like to lose a father, to do that to someone who lost both his children and is reaching out and offering to do it for you. I told him maybe he needs therapy if it's so hard, and he's so caught up in the loss of them that he can't see me as my own person, and as someone who would want my remaining parent to walk with me and fill that role. He was offended I would make that suggestion. My mom then bent over apologizing after she heard what happened. I guess she hadn't known the whole thing from before. He's still, I want to say salty, but he's still offended and thinks I overstepped. Did I? Am I the a-hole? And before anyone asks, my fiancé and I are paying for the wedding ourselves, and he is not contributing to anything. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He told me even if I don't want it, would I do that for him? Huh? You barely know the guy and he told you to disregard your own feelings on your own wedding day? Tell him to GTFO. What is he on? What kind of man has the audacity to ask a woman he barely knows to turn her wedding into his personal therapy session? Does he really believe that a 45-second walk with a stranger is going to cure him? Why is he asking her to give up what she has planned on an incredibly important day just to cater to his wants? He could have slapped her face and said, "You mean nothing. I'm the only person that matters in this world," and it would have the same effect. If only we had a word to perfectly describe this kind of person. Oh wait. Narcissist. Not only is the OP not an a-hole, but she actually made an astute observation in that her stepfather is indeed in need of therapy to unpack and process some of his feelings of grief and loss that he has obviously not dealt with sufficiently. Okay, y'all are starting to get a little carried away with the insults. Obviously, OP is not a-hole, but that's because she's 100% correct. What kind of man has the audacity to ask a woman he barely knows to turn her wedding into his personal therapy session? The kind in desperate need of therapy. No, OP's wedding is not the place, obviously. But God knows there are few kinds of trauma more damaging than loss of a child. And I say this as the child of 2 dead parents. 1 cancer, 1 self-deletion. Both before I graduated college. I've gone to therapy, and I'm still hurt. But man, the thought of losing 1 child, let alone 2, rocks me to my core. Trauma like that puts you in a headspace that makes clear lucid thought a cruel joke. He can only see himself there because he is deeply, deeply traumatized from all the hours, days, years spent sleeplessly imagining all the moments he could have shared with his kids. Cut him some slack before he gets too mean with the name calling. He really does need therapy though. Not a-hole. My dearest cousin JK lost both her parents when she was in her early 20s. When we heard the news that she was getting married, my parents RM and V had a long discussion with each other and decided they would be graciously willing to play the roles normally reserved for parents, hosting the rehearsal dinner, giving speeches, walking the bride down the aisle. So they called JK, and she was simply speechless. Finally, after regaining her composure, she gently told them they weren't even invited to the wedding. Not the a-hole. If you guys were really close and or he's married to your mom for let's say 10+ years, cool. But he overstepped here, and instead of backing down, he starts to guilt trip you? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my stepdad left me with nothing? My dad passed away when I was 10. I was very close to him, a real daddy's girl. When he passed away, I was devastated. 3 years after his death, my mom remarried my stepdad. While my stepdad was nice to me and my younger siblings, I did not see him as a father. I saw him as my mom's husband. When I was 17, he asked to adopt me, and I declined. I did not want him to replace my real father, but my younger sisters had no such problem. Because of that decision, I've always felt like he has tried to subtly punish me for not agreeing to the adoption. He has excluded me from many things. When my younger sisters graduated high school, he did a father-daughter trip with them to celebrate, and he didn't do so for me. When they graduated college, he attended their graduations. He did not attend mine as he was feeling unwell, although he never specified what he came down with. He posted multiple times on social media about how proud he was about their achievements, but he has never done so for me. When I got married, I chose to walk down the aisle alone. My stepdad didn't say anything, but I know he was upset as he privately complained to my mom, and she tried to get me to change my mind. After my wedding, he was completely silent on social media. He congratulated me and my husband one time, and then just seemed to forget about it. When my 2 younger sisters got married, he was full of pride and happiness and posted so many pictures, selfies, and long paragraphs about how beautiful the ceremonies were, how wonderful my sisters looked, etc. I always thought that I was overthinking and that these actions could be explained away. At the beginning of 2020, my stepdad was diagnosed with an aggressive terminal illness and he passed away last month. During his last days, he did not want to see me, but he did want my sisters and my mom by his side. I was the only one singled out. I respected his wishes, but it hurt so much. When he passed away, he left handwritten letters for my sisters and nothing for me. My younger sister, who was his favorite, got over 20 handwritten letters from him and a special engraved necklace from him. I didn't even get one letter. I feel so hurt. Am I the a-hole for feeling this way? I tried to talk to my husband about this, and he says I'm making my stepdad's death all about myself. I want to talk to my sisters about this, but my husband says it is selfish to do so as they are all grieving. I feel so deeply hurt. Sorry, but you're the a-hole. You kind of excluded yourself. Your siblings were happy to have him as their father. You declined. When my younger sisters graduated high school, he did a father-daughter trip with them to celebrate. Because they had a father-daughter relationship. I did not see him as a father. Your siblings did, so they got him as a father. You got him as my mother's husband, which is how you chose to get him. You excluded him from the father role at your wedding. It doesn't seem like your siblings did, so they got the happy father experience. Again, something you declined. Chose your own path. I mean, he literally asked Opie if he could be her father via adoption, and Opie said no. He wasn't subtly punishing Opie for saying no. He was accepting what she told him about their relationship. She kept reinforcing that lesson, and now she's surprised he didn't think of her as a daughter in spite of her literally telling him not to think of her as a daughter? Yeah, you're the a-hole. I don't understand this position. He asked his stepdaughters while they were children if he could adopt them. Then, he tangibly rewarded the stepdaughters that agreed, and iced out the one that didn't. He was the fully formed adult. He should have treated them all the same relationship with all stepdaughters, adoption or not. Sure, he might be closer to the others, but that is a different issue. Also, sounds like the Opie's mother went along with it. Mom may be the a-hole. We see the opposite on the sub all the time. An Opie vents on the sub about how their step-parent won't respect their boundaries and keeps pushing for a parent-child relationship. This step-parent took Opie at her word and backed off. Opie said did not see him as her dad. Her sisters did. Why would he keep trying to do father-daughter things with a 17-year-old who told him that he is not her dad? You're the a-hole. He asked if he could adopt you, which is him taking you under his wing as a real daughter. You declined, so why should he care for you as if you were his daughter? It's not his duty to take care of you or even care for you if you refused his offer of parentage. You deserve nothing, and you got nothing. Move on. Would I be the a-hole if I say I don't want a father-daughter dance with my stepdad? I'll try and keep this brief because I see similar posts have been posted lately. I'm 24 female, I'm getting married. I asked my mom and stepdad to walk me down the aisle. I said I didn't want a father-daughter dance with him, but offered a spotlight dance for the two of them. They were not happy with that. He asked me if I would ideally like one with my mom, and I was honest that, yeah, I would. But I was trying to be sensitive to everyone's one, so compromising. He went away hurt. My mom told me I should reconsider. She told me it was rude. They went back to me about 2 weeks after the initial discussion and said a spotlight dance for them did not make up for the snub of no father-daughter dance. And especially when it's not that I don't want a parent-bride dance, but I don't want one with him. They told me we needed to discuss it more, so we did. Which I kind of regret now because it was a rehash of the same stuff over and over again. The other night, my mom called and said I need to give this more thought and reconsider doing it. She said that I could have one with each of them, and that would make everyone happy instead of them having a spotlight dance. She said he has raised me since I was 8 and has been a good father figure to me, and has supported and loved me most of my life. All of this is true, but, and I know this will likely be what sways some people, he was always second best to me in terms of my longing and grief for my dad who died 8 months before he and my mom got married. He could just never take that role. I'm not sure anyone could, because my dad was amazing. He loved and supported me, encouraged me to follow my dreams, thought of me right up until the very end. He left letters and videos for me to mark every milestone he would miss as well as other things. I have so much love and some great memories of my dad. And I just never found that kind of love for my stepdad. It's not that I don't appreciate him being there for us, and I know he tried, but I never felt even half of what he feels for me. It's part of the reason I never let him pay for college, though he offered. Because I didn't want to feel like I was taking advantage of someone's love for me when that love is not reciprocated. So now I don't know. I could say I have changed my mind, but in truth, I don't want to dance with him. If I had my wish, it would be for my mom, and just my mom to walk me down the aisle. But she would never consider that. Would I be the a-hole if I say I don't want a father-daughter dance with him as my final thoughts on the matter? Now for the comments. No a-holes here. You feel how you feel, but I can also understand why you would be hurt. Yeah, I get it. Not the a-hole. You've already compromised your wedding by having them both walk you down the aisle, which most people view as the most important parent-bride part. While the dance is lovely, I don't think it's as maybe important. Like, if it was missing from a wedding, it would not be as noticed, while a bride not being walked down the aisle would be more noticeable. I don't think you need to compromise further, and I have moved this judgment into the a-hole territory, because despite already getting to both walk you down the aisle, they are requesting more from you on your wedding. No a-holes here. You can't help the way you feel, and if you tried explaining how you feel and why you feel that way, he should try his best to accept it, even if it may be hurtful. I'm not telling you what to do, but maybe at this point, nix the parent dances altogether so no one person is jealous or hurts over another. It is your day, and you can do whatever you want. A biological parent figure is something no step-parent can fully replace, even if they are loving and the best step-parent ever. The dance with my mom isn't happening anyway. I knew it would be off the table, so I just suggested they do one together. It only came up because he asked me directly. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my 3 sisters out of my wedding after they came with their kids? My wife and I got married 2 weeks ago. We wanted a child-free wedding, so we've let everyone know. My family /in-law /friends and relatives, and everyone was okay with it. Except for my family. I have 3 sisters all with kids from 2 to 10. My mom said it was illogical to not allow kids since 1, this never happened in the family, and 2, my sisters live towns away so the kids can't be left alone. After a lot of arguing and others getting involved, I stood my ground and they agreed to not bring kids. At the wedding, no one brought kids. My parents and aunts were already there, but then I saw my 2 sisters arriving with their kids. I immediately went to ask what's the deal. They began arguing with me when I said I won't be letting them in with the kids. Then I saw my older sister came with her kids in the car. I was pissed. I asked why they decided to go against the rule and bring kids. My mom started yelling at me when I told my sisters they weren't allowed in with the kids. Everyone was yelling at me. I had to get the security involved to make them leave. My parents and aunt left shortly after. They were so pissed at me, and I got nasty texts later, and my cousin posted about my crappy wedding on Facebook. Days later, I've gathered a family and explained what they did was wrong. I asked if I allowed my sisters with their kids, what message that sent to my in-laws and friends who wanted to bring kids but they couldn't. My sisters argued with me, and it turned out my mom told them to bring their kids and should deal with me later. I told them they could have arranged for a babysitter, but my mom said they wanted to celebrate as a whole family. Said that I ruined my own wedding by making a scene, and everyone will always remember my wedding as a disaster. A crap show because of mine and my wife's child-free bull. They said the only way to fix it is to have another wedding/party and include everyone, especially kids. I called them unreasonable. I asked Mom where the hell she got the nerve to even demand that. They blamed my wife and claimed it was deliberate. I left. They started talking to my wife, trying to convince her that they don't approve of what happened and that they're giving us the chance to fix the situation. Otherwise, their relationship is damaged. This caused me a headache, and I don't think what I did was wrong. I just want them to have some respect for my wife and her family. Not today, Hull. Your wedding. You set the rules and a guest list. Kids weren't on it. They broke the rules intentionally and they suffered the consequences. Stand your ground. Exactly. Do not throw that second party, because it only sent a message that you were wrong and they were right, and you shouldn't have held a child-free wedding. Don't argue about it anymore. Just do the broken record thing. Keep repeating you knew the rules and guest list. You intentionally broke your word when you said you weren't going to bring the kids. It's not my fault you face the consequences of your own actions. Just keep repeating that over and over again, no matter what they say. Not today, Hall, but do throw a second party. At the second party, don't invite mother or sisters. If you want to, invite their kids, with the condition they, mom and sisters, are still not invited. Not today, Hall, and your family's massively crappy. I'm betting this isn't the first time they've tried to bully you to get their way. Tell them to pound sand. Exactly. The fact that they agreed to the no kids rule but did it anyways just screams they think they are better than everyone else and above the rules. Not today, Hull. You asked them beforehand to not bring kids and they did anyway. Also, kids count as regular guests for weddings, and it's not cool to bring people that's not invited, especially when you have to pay per person for food, chairs, etc. Right. That in itself is an issue that I didn't have the chance to explain to them.